Just waiting on Jantae. Hey!
Hi.
Great. I could hear you well.
Good. I'm glad.
Good, good. I'm really glad we did that. Anyway.
No, I know.
So welcome again, everybody. My name is Camille Grant. I am the co-founder of Purely Bachelorette. I am welcoming the lovely Jantae Rashaun. Thank you so much for joining me. Yes, so I'm going to be interviewing today on your wonderful book. It was just released on Tuesday, correct?
Correct.
Awesome. Yeah. It's called Dating Standards That Speak, 10 Dating Habits to Take You from Single to Sought After. Very powerful book. Great job. I read it through. It is beautiful.
I'm so glad you liked it. I was like, oh my God, you finished it.
Yes, I was determined, okay?
I know.
But it was wonderful. So we're going to get cracking away. But real quickly, Purely Bachelorette, we are a clean and fun bachelorette party box that's incorporated into bachelor parties and bridal showers. And the main goal is just to honor the bride and groom again, because there's been a lot of negativity going on. You enjoy your parties, but we're going to incorporate just a different way of enjoying your time. So that's us. Plus, we're a movement too. So we like to encourage women in different facets of their life while they're courting, even if they're single, engaged, married, all that. So just wanted to let you guys know. And again, thank you for joining us, okay? But your book, again, is powerful. I wanted to first commend you and thank you for being like a sacrifice. You're basically saying, I messed up with some areas. I want to save you from this. So thank you. That was in your acknowledgments. But yeah.
Absolutely. Like, I was so happy to do it because really so many mistakes. And I just don't want you guys to make those, right? I want you to get happy and get in love. That's what we want, right?
Thank you so much, because I've learned so much with this. Also, you mentioned earlier on that you complained of being a serial monogamous. And I've never heard that before. I'm used to people saying, man, I was a player back in the day. But this sounds a little bit different, a different take. So explain that to me.
Right. So really kind of opposite of a player, right? A serial monogamous. I was always in a committed relationship. I was a girl who was always booed up with somebody, always love. So that was always me. So it sounds good, but it came with a lot of heartache, dating the wrong guys, not having the right standards in place. So yeah, a lot of lessons came from that.
I got you. Okay. And another thing that I took away from the book is that you like to incorporate scripture, which I love. You don't hide that. It's a biblical truth, all that. So I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, he guided me. If I really get into it, in the next book, I'll really get into it, the process of meeting my husband and everything. But I mean, every step of the way, he was there, guiding me, speaking to me. We guys just have to be in a position to really hear him. So yeah.
Perfect. So I'm going to basically go through all of your habits and break down kind of what I've gleaned from each chapter, and then you can go furthermore. So the part 1 is get into self-work. So it covers your habits 1 through 6, and again, there's 10 total habits. So with habit 1, it's shift your mindset. You are the prize and deserve to be pursued. So I love that. Your big points in this chapter is he needs to pursue you. Very powerful.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And I know that you're probably wondering, does he have to pursue every time? Yeah. Listen. Okay, so I'm going to start by saying there are subtle ways that you can allow a man to know that you're available to be pursued, right?
That's where I was going. Okay, good.
Right. But not pursue. You don't want to pursue, right? Because we don't want to take his job as the hunter away. He's still the hunter, right? Yeah. And so we don't. So the thing with pursuing, really, this is why I'm such a huge advocate of women not pursuing, is because of the value of the long-term benefit of not pursuing a man, right?
Okay.
So the things that you work for and you put effort in, you're more likely to appreciate them, cherish them, right? You heard me use that word so many times in the book because you want to be cherished by your man long-term, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to be in a position where you're chasing him and then you might win. You might get him and say, okay, I have him now, but then you may be in the position now where you have to be responsible for dictating every step and every progression in the relationship. And that's not where you should be as the woman in a relationship.
That's a really good point. So then how do you do that? How do you make yourself available without looking like you're pursuing them?
Okay, so for instance, I have a lot of little stories in the book, right?
I love them.
Say you're out with your girlfriends and there's a group of you and, you might be making eye contact with somebody. He's making eye contact. Maybe separate from the group. You know, maybe walk away, maybe to, you know, grab a drink or go to the restroom.
That's good.
Or if you're in a grocery store, maybe walk back down the aisle. You know, you guys are kind of vibing each other. Put yourself in his space and give him the opportunity to shoot his shot, right? And if he wants it bad enough, he's going to go for it, right? Right?
Yeah.
He's really going to go for it. And that's what I really, really want women to understand is that a man is going to pursue you if he really wants you. Now, there are a lot of things that we tell ourselves because I've been there. It's like, well, maybe, you know, he's shy or he's been hurt before or he's just getting out of. If he wants it bad enough, he's going to pursue.
That's good.
So put yourself in a position if you feel like, well, maybe let me give him subtle gestures, do that. But then if he doesn't, you know, don't take it personal. There's going to be somebody who's hunting you down. So really think about this. How many times has there been a guy that you didn't like, shot him down, and he still keeps coming, right?
Yes.
Because he really wants it. Same applies. Same applies. So ending with this on pursuit. If a guy does not pursue you, even though he's looking at you, he sees an attractive woman, he might be attractive, you really have to consider what are the reasons he may not be pursuing you. Maybe he does have someone at home. You know, maybe he's occupied. Maybe whatever the reason, if he's not coming at you that way, you don't want to work for it. You don't want to have to work for it because you want the long-term benefit of you being pursued.
Great advice. Thank you. And this is going to be a modernized question. Those who are interested in pursuing online dating, and there's a sort of like button, and then you eventually match. Is it okay to be the woman to like first, or he needs to find you in some way online and he needs to like you and then you can match? It's like a separate thing. I know that you're married now. You're probably have never experienced online dating, but just a question for that.
But, you know, I think online dating in reference to just liking, I think that's fine, you know, because there's a lot of options. You have to like in order to be matched, right?
Yes.
Kind of, right? So, yeah, I think that's fine. That's different than pursuing. But then he's got to make some steps towards you, you know, after that.
Gotcha. Thank you for that. Next one will be habit 2. Let your standards speak. Standards lead to either respect or release. So that's really good. Yeah. So I liked your advice. It was very interesting. After courting for a couple weeks to months, you might start noticing that the guy might become a little bit more complacent, more relaxed with you. It may not be as like forefront interest in you. So I like how you warn us to not reach out to him more to try and get that attention back. So that, like, use that example where he may not call her as much during the day. So is that in a way or a form of us trying to pursue again or take charge when there's like complacency? Okay, cool.
Absolutely. And I've made this mistake before. You know, I've been in a situation where I kind of felt like he pursued me and he was really into me. And then somewhere along the lines, I started getting a little too pressed or whatever it was. And then he's getting comfortable and calling less. And your first instinct is going to be to reach out. Yeah. What are you doing? You haven't called, this and that. We should have the absolute opposite reaction to that. You know what I mean? Pull back and then, you know, let him come back. As soon as he starts to come back, reach back out. And then you can subtly let him know, like, okay, hey, I was expecting you to call. I didn't hear from you. Yeah. But by all means, do not, you know, fuss him out. You know, you didn't do text messages, and please don't use social media captions as therapy. All those things we're not doing because, you know, we're busy in our lives being bosses and doing what we do, but he'll come back around. That's good. I like how you use also in the book elusive. Be elusive so that it kind of like draws him back to you. I like that idea. And that's the pursuit goes a long way. We got to keep that going. I love that. All right. Habit 3, capture your vision. Your ideal man should be aligned with the overall vision for your life. So you are big with lists. I saw that. There's nothing wrong with that. I've just never applied that to my life before. And a lot of my friends do it. I just have that concern that, like, the more I write down stuff, the more boxed I'll be, the more I might not want to explore if there's something different with the guy, and he might be a great guy. So that was something that I wanted to talk to you about, like what experiences made you want to do lists? Because a lot of my friends have it, and I always ask them, like, what made you want to do it? And you mentioned, like, Oprah and Steve Harvey vision boards is kind of what got you started a little bit. But what other things? Do you at least do a vision board? So
I've only done something where a friend told me there's top 3 things. At least have that. That if those are breakers, what do you call those? Breakers, not red flags, but you even mentioned
Deal breakers.
Thank you.
Deal breakers.
And then anything after that is a sacrifice. Like, okay, I'll learn to deal with it and give it to the Lord. I've heard that from a friend. I actually like that. I don't like long lists to try to remember. Just 3, and then everything else, boom. But yes, that's all I've done.
Okay, so if you only have a short list, so first of all, the Lord says be specific, right? We being specific now.
Yes,
okay,
that's
so
true.
That's the first thing, but it's just the same concept. So think about women. There's no better time to be a woman, right? We're out here. We are starting businesses. We're running companies. We're getting the car with the house. We have all these goals and we're crushing them, right? Well, we prepare for those things, right? We write down. We know what our goals are, and we are intentional about achieving those goals. And it's the same idea, right? You don't just want to accept anything. So that's why I'm really about first knowing your overall vision. What do you want out of life? And then you determine what you want in a man based on those. As long as your standards are aligned and realistic, there can be 100 of them. Okay, there can be 100, but aligned and realistic, because you have to know what you're looking for, right? So they're aligned to the vision you have for your life, right? So I can give you an example. If you say, you know what, when I have my children, I want to be able to stay home for 1 year with my children and not work, right? That's a goal. So then the person that you date, first of all, they have to kind of have that type of mindset that they can understand that. And 2, they have to be set in their careers enough that they can handle the household by themselves for a period of time. So that's something that will go on your list, right? You want someone who can understand that way of thinking. And so really you align your standards for a man with the vision that you have for your life. And then you want to make sure that they're realistic. So this is when we get into vision versus fantasy, right?
Exactly.
And so some women now, and I think this is probably what you're more referring to when they're saying, well, I want this, I want a 6-pack, and I want to make sure he makes this money and this and this. We're getting into fantasy, right?
Okay,
and thank you. Really,
let's separate the two.
Right. How you can really differentiate the two is long-term benefits. Here we are to that again, right? So we want things that are like integrity, moral compass, right? You know, someone who's family oriented. Those are things that you want to have on your list. All those other things can be fleeting, so we have to be really careful with those.
That's good.
And so so that's basically the difference. If they're aligned and realistic, go write your list, because you can do. You know, God answers prayers. You better write that list.
So good. All right. So we're going to head up to habit 4. I'm looking at the time. There's no way that's the time. That's amazing.
Right.
So habit 4, become your expectations. You should be a representative of what you are looking for in a man. So I love that, because you're not just like, the man has to do this, has to do this. What am I preparing myself for myself? 100%. I love that concept. And I love your integrity checklist. The example, is he respectful to other women in his life? Does he tip well? And I actually have other 2 that I learned from other friends. I don't know if you've heard before. So like, are you nice, or is he nice to the service person, the waiter, the waitress? How does he drive? Does he have road rage? Like, check that out. And also like in sports, football, like, does he like get crazy?
Is he acting real crazy, losing his temper on the game? We might have to question that.
But while you're watching that, you have to check yourself too. So I love that.
Oh, absolutely. It's a 2-way thing. Like, we can't be out here expecting all these things that we're not willing to give. You know what I mean? So I'm really a big advocate for preparing yourself. And that means your home, make it your castle. You should be at home whining and dining yourself. You know what I mean? Do those types of things, because those are going to transcend when you become wifey, right?
Yes. So good. All right. And then habit 5, curb your attractions. What you need in a man and what we are attracted to can be 2 entirely different things. So we kind of need to be like, not be blinded so much to the physical, which I love what you're saying. Right. And I like your mini stories, again, are powerful. Do you, for example, are all these examples that you're using from friends, or are they kind of like fictional narratives so that get your point across, or what is the point on that?
So some of them, make sure my husband's not listening, some of them are my situations. And then some of them are my friends and people, that have confided in me. But they are actually real stories, 100%. Yeah.
All of the stories are quite intense. So for them to be some of your stories, I'm so sorry.
I know. See, but this is why I'm doing this, right? You
Yes.
don't want to be there.
Yes. Wow. Okay. And I don't know if you've ever seen Love is Blind on Netflix. I've never seen it before either, but I like the concept where you're not focused on the physical. You're actually hearing their heart, emotions first, and then meet. I think that's a great concept.
And a lot of people have been talking about it. I do need to check it out. I haven't seen
it. Check it out. Yes. And then habit 6, check yourself. Consider which part of the man you want to attract. Short term, this is what you're talking about, short-term discipline for long-term satisfaction. Talk a little bit about that. That was really
okay. Good. So I always say when I get to that, because that don't lead with sex really is important nowadays, because I think for women it's just gotten so out of hand. I mean, I hear this term all the time, sexually empowered and sexually free, and that's not what I used to call it when I was okay. We're not gonna say what we used to call it, but I mean, I just think that's just the wrong thing. I think with social media and everything that we see on TV, I think it gives the women the misconception that we have to lead with sex and we have to show this and present ourselves this way to attract the man. And that's just not true. Every man is not like that. I think men are still looking for quality women, and there are some men that are looking for that, but that's not who you want to attract, right? Exactly. That's not the husband you want. So yeah, we got to get away from that.
So true. So true. And now we're approaching part 2. So it's going to be habits 7 through 10. I think we're doing pretty good with time. We're doing all right. So habit 7, date with purpose. Love that heading. Don't wait for 4 or 5 dates down the road to find out he doesn't want a relationship. So yeah. So that's
the right question.
That's a long. You're very patient if you wait that long. So you mentioned that it is wise and highly recommended to be deep with some vulnerable questions. My eyes open. I'm like, really on the first date, but it's like, when is the time to do that?
Well, I think if you're going to ask something like, listen, when you're having a dinner and you say, okay, are you dating anyone, seriously or frequently right now? Is there someone you're seeing regularly? I mean, that's something that I would want to know right away. You know what I mean? Wouldn't you? I mean, it might sound deep, but to me, that's like a surface level.
No brainer.
What's the deal here? Yeah, you want to know those things early. I mean, I see people go on 3 and 4 and 5 dates, and then they're like, well, I don't really know if he's seen other people. Well, what don't you know?
Yeah.
As women, I think sometimes what I've learned from a lot of women that I talk to is that they're afraid to ask the hard questions because they don't want to know the answer. And that concept I can't really get with that. You don't really want to know the answer. That kind of means you do know the answer.
Yes.
You just don't want to hear it. So we have to be careful of that, because we don't want to waste our time in the wrong place, because I think I talk about this in the book too. You can really fall in love. You can fall for anybody the more time you spend with them, especially when you get into a place where you're being physical with someone who doesn't meet your standards just to fill a void. You really can put yourself in a trick bag doing that. So, we have to be intentional about these things.
That's really good. Really good. And I'm noticing in the modern world, there's a lot more instigating, or what is called inspector dating, where guys will just hop around and then they might find the one. So that's a great question to ask. Are you currently hopping around right now?
100%.
Is it exclusively talking to me? That's a great question. So we have habit 8, decode his intentions. Your true value stretches far beyond your body. So you shared 3 reasons why men date. Do you want to go over that instead of me listing them out for you? Or I could go over that and then you could go over.
So the 3 reasons were to see where things can go, to just have fun, right? Yep. Then we get into the fun girl. And then there are men that are really decide that, hey, I'm ready to settle down, and they're looking for that one. So those are the 3 reasons. Yeah.
Yes. And would you say before you dated your now husband, which guy did you always attract to or go to in that list?
I think I usually dated the one who was looking to see where things could go. And you know what I mean? And then they're like, okay, yeah, let's be in a relationship. And they weren't necessarily ready. That was the bump I kept hitting. Yeah. You know what I mean? Is they weren't ready for the next level. And then I end up wasting time. We don't need to wait.
Or they're just nonchalantly just joining the ride and they're not having a goal.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay. We have two more. This is great. Learning a lot from you. Again, if you guys want the book, Jantae Rashaun, Dating Standards That Speak, 10 Dating Habits to Take You from Single to Sought After. So we're just scratching the surface here, guys. There's a lot of great examples that she has not shared yet that you need to read the book. It's really good. So we have Habit 9, Decode His Date. Have standards for the types of dates you accept. No more dating just to date. So I never knew there were types of dates that you go to that guys think about, and I think they're hilarious to me. So please explain swipe date.
Oh, the swipe date.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's my crazy side name, but I really name
like it.
Dates. Okay, so that's basically, it's online dating, and I think social media, online dating now, they have all these options at their fingertips, and they're just sitting here. One thing one of my friends told me is, oh, I have 200 matches. And I was like, 200 matches? It gives the wrong idea, I think, to people. And then when you put that in some men's hand, they're just like, all right, I'm going to go out with her this day and her this day. And I think from the women's perspective, we just want to be mindful that we kind of set ourselves apart when it comes to that. So there's so many options, but how is he interacting with you before the date? You know what I mean? Yeah. And then if he's hitting you an hour and saying, hey, why don't you meet me here at this corner in an hour? I don't think you want to be that girl. No, I'm not the fun girl.
No.
Swipes is the next one, and she might be, but not me.
No, not at all. I like that. And then the other one was left side of the menu date. When you explained that to me, I was like, I would have never thought that.
Okay. Left side of the menu date, that's that that's that expensive side. He's pulling out all the stops, and he expects you to pull out all the stops. Quite
wow.
He's finished, so you have to be mindful of that.
That's really good. But anything else from Dakota's date that you wanted to share, or is those two big ones?
I think the main thing with decoding his date is just, again, his interactions before the date. You know what I mean? And then seeing that he's actually I think people should talk before they go on a date, even online dates. Like, they don't talk before they go on the date, like have conversations building up to the date.
Thank you so much for saying that. So many levels.
Yeah, so many levels. So those things are important leading up to. Then you will really know if you're excited to actually, or if even you're at the least bit compatible before you get there.
Yes.
Right? So, yeah.
Very good. And then last but not least, habit 10, don't lose yourself. Never sacrifice yourself for the sake of having a man. So in this chapter, it feels like you're not talking to someone who's like trying to date. You're talking to someone who's like in it, courting for a while. And it's very like, you have like empathy for people like that. Like, don't lose yourself. Focus on what you've been focusing on years prior to meeting this guy. You still matter in this world. You still have something to give. Don't just all that stuff focused on him. So I like that.
And, I really thought it was important to end with that chapter because I'm going to raise my hand. That has been me on several occasions. But what happens is not even just being in a relationship, because nowadays there are people that are just dating, not committed for months and months and years. Oh, I've been seeing him for 2 years with that in a situationship, which, by the way, is not a title for a relationship. I don't know who needs to hear that. Yeah. The situationship is not a title. Okay.
That's so good.
But it's really important that we always talk about work-life balance, right? But before you are married, I really believe there should be a work-life love balance, right? Because he's not ingrained in every aspect of your life just yet, right? You still have things that are separate from him. Because when you ingrain him in everything, when things become toxic or unhealthy or just don't work out for whatever reason, it's harder for you to recover.
Yes,
and we don't want to be in that position, right? So that's the whole concept there, why I wanted to end there. I want people to understand is, hey, you're out here, you have so many other things happening. It's okay to date, to have love, but maintain a sense of yourself.
Yes, very good, very good. And then I wanted to end it with this. Like, I don't know if you have a daughter. I saw boys on your page.
I have 2 sons.
2 sons.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you have a niece or any young girl that you see. What is like the one habit? Like, if you just have this ingrained in your heart and remember this one, what would it be out of the 10?
I really probably would say capture your vision, because it really ties into everything. It's tying into you making sure your standards are aligned, making sure you're walking in your expectations, right? All those things. And so you know what you want when you're out there dating. You're clear on what you want. And so that's the one that I think is the most important. And that goes to you too, because you don't do your list. You gotta do your list.
I'll work on my list soon. Yeah, I had someone was like, no, you don't do that, just 3. I was like, okay, I'll watch that. But no, thank you again, Jantae. Wonderful spirit. I could just tell from reading your books, from talking to you right now. I pray that you have an amazing, wonderful life with your husband and your boys. Continued just blessings for you. And how can we pray for you?
You can just pray that I can continue to get my message out, because that's really what I want to do. Is just I want to help so many women and young women just really find what it is they're looking for, and that's how you can pray for me, honey.
Hey, I'll definitely get this out there. Definitely.
All right, and thanks so much for having me.
Of course,
and
I heard you have
you
a
guys
tour.
and Purely Bachelorette the best. I love what you guys are doing.
Thank
I wish you guys had it when I was, getting married. It's awesome. I love it. Aww, seriously.
Thank you. We'll share it with your girls who aren't married yet.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you. Well, God bless you and everybody for joining us. Thank you so much. Okay. All right.
Bye.
Take care.